Okay, we're going to cover passage 4. This is a natural science passage. Natural science passages are on the far end of the reference category. As such, all strategies are valid on this passage. You can read and answer. That's my recommendation if you have time. Google summary and answer if you can read but have difficulty remembering what you just read or trying to read quickly to gain time. And then mapping and answering where you either just read the intro of each paragraph or where you answer the questions with line numbers in them first. This is a somewhat unusual natural science passage in that only 3 of the questions actually have line number references provided. Usually you're going to see at least 5 or 6 with line numbers in a natural science. So the strategy of mapping the questions might not be as effective on this particular passage. Because there are so many questions without line numbers, you might find it beneficial to do Google Summary, where you're quickly acknowledging what was there, or if you're mapping the passage and just answering or reading the intro of each paragraph. This one works pretty well for that as well, at least to know where to find the questions. It would be well advised to answer question number 31 as the last question you answer when you've spent more time with the questions, because it asks the main question the passage addresses is how the Venus flytrap is able to. And so we'll see in the intro and conclusion, those always give us some pretty good ideas. The rest of the text, as you explore, it's also going to help you this question. It'll be an easy question if you answer it last. The first question talks about, the first paragraph talks about how closing the Venus flytrap requires a huge expanse of energy, and it only wants to spring close when it's sure that an insect is large enough to be worth its time. And the last paragraph goes through and summarizes the mechanism by which the Venus flytrap decides to close. And that's what these studies mention do as well. They talk about those mechanisms. So the answer is C. It answers how the Venus flytrap is able to store information so that it can close if a second hair is touched. It's all about when to close. Again, this question is easier if you save it to last. Number 32 is a based on the passage question, so we know the answer is clearly there. If you have unlimited time to find it, this should be a relatively easy question. Under which of the following circumstances would the Venus flytrap remain open? We see around line 10 it's talking about this. If an insect touches just one hair, the trap will not spring, so it will remain open if it touches just one hair. We don't see that here, just one hair. We don't see anywhere in our answers. It does go on to say, though, but a large enough bug will likely touch 2 hairs within about 20 seconds. Okay, so we said if a second trigger hair is touched 15 seconds, if it's touched in 15 seconds, the Venus flytrap will spring into action. A second hair is touched 25 seconds. Oh, that's too long, right? That's more than 20 seconds. So we can eliminate F and choose G. 15 micro columns of electricity isn't even mentioned anywhere in the passage, I don't think. So we can eliminate H and J. Number 33, based on the passage, what is the relationship between Haddock and Severe's model and Volkov's research? So we see Haddock and Severe's model here around line 30. There's the ones that in 1982, a century after John Borden Sanderson. So they have a model, and then we see Volkov's research around line 60. Now it says subsequent research, meaning Volkov's research supports this model. So we can eliminate B that says Volkov's research proves that Haddock and Severe was inaccurate. We can also say the answer is A. Volkov's research supported the model. We can eliminate C and D because Volkov is subsequent research and Haddock and Severe's was prior to that. So we can eliminate C and D because of that. Number 34, the passage makes clear, again, if you have unlimited time, this is a question I would expect everyone to be able to answer, that unlike Haddock and Severe's research, Volkov's research did not examine. We see around line 65, it says it did not measure calcium levels, but Haddock and Severe's did. So the role calcium levels play in closing the flytrap, J. Pretty easy question if you have unlimited time. On the ACT, when you're rushed for time and have to find this, it might be a little trickier. Number 35, the main idea of lines 13 to 24 is that the Venus flytrap's process for catching prey is, and just the topic sentence, very similar to memory loss. So C. Number 36, again, based on the passage, easy to answer if you have enough time. Burden Sanderson is significant why? And we see this around line 29. And it says he had an early report on the physiology of the Venus flytrap. So he composed an early report on the Venus flytrap's physiology. G. Number 37, in the passage, the idea that closing the Venus flytrap demands a large amount of energy is presented as. So we see this around line 1, right in the beginning. Closing the trap of a Venus flytrap requires a huge expanse of energy, and reopening the trap can take several hours. The rest of the passage is researching how that's done, but this particular statement is just presented as fact. So D. Based in the passage, so again it's there, and it tells you where to look, lines 19 to 24. The example that ant crawling most nearly serves to show. So line 19, if a small ant takes a while to get from one hair to the next, the trap will have forgotten the first touch by that time. The ant brushes up against the next hair. In other words, it loses the storage information, doesn't close, and the ant happily meanders on. So this is an example of why a fly trap might not close, right? It's not touching that second hair to close. So let's just process of eliminate. So we can see definitely G is out. It's not about how it chooses between insects and other animals. So definitely not G. About choice J, the amount of time it takes the fly trap to close. I don't think that's even talked about anywhere in this text. It's all about how it knows when to close, not how long it does close. So choice J is out. Then how the fly trap stores information or a situation in which it doesn't close. And this is just an example of a situation in which it doesn't close because it's how long it takes the ant to meander from one hair to the next. So your answer is H. Number 39, as used in line 48, the word spring most nearly means. So it says, therefore, a second hair needs to be stimulated to push the calcium concentration over the threshold and spring the trap. So it's not choice A, it's not going to break the trap. It's not going to vault the trap, it's going to activate the trap. It's going to set it into motion. That's what activate means. So, and it's not D, it's not going to grow the trap. So C is clearly the answer on this one. Number 40, another based on the passage. So again, unlimited time. I would expect every student to be able to get this one right. Compared to the amount of static electricity generated by rubbing two balloons together, the amount of electricity needed to close the Venus flytrap is. Last question on the test if you've done them in order. You might be struggling to find this. And so we're going to see it around line 70. It says a tiny bit more than the static electricity generated by rubbing two balloons together. So slightly greater, F. Not a hard question, maybe just a hard question at the end of the test. Be sure to reach out if you have any questions. I'm getting ready to tell the absolute worst silly dad joke ever. How do flowers whistle with their tulips? Have a good day.